the calm grace and power he always had. There was never like a panic with him, even as a young rider. It was power, and it was kind of calm and cool and collected under pressure.
Taylor Phinney, 29-year-old American cyclist, just announced his retirement. We're going to talk to some of his fellow riders, sports directors, about his decision to call it quits.
I've been working with Taylor for the last sort of 3 years, so I think this year we sort of knew what was coming. I think it could have been earlier. I listened to Mitch Docker's podcast. I think Taylor had even considered retirement just before Roubaix 2018. And then it was his result there that basically kept him going for a while. I had a few chats with Taylor, and you could see which direction it was going, and so it's not a huge surprise for us.
Taylor and I are two of the kids who are actually born in Boulder, whereas everyone else moves there to be a pro. And we went to high school together. I was running cross country at Boulder High School, and I was on the varsity team there. And he had just come back from living abroad in Italy for a year or so, and joined the high school as I think it was a sophomore, and I was the senior. So he was kind of like the young talent coming through.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've known 3 different versions of Taylor. When he was a young junior, he was just kind of that goofy, awkward, trying to fit in kind of guy, and then he kind of morphed into this rock star, into fashion, into watches, and just this larger than life figure. And then he had his accident, and then he kind of mellowed out a little bit and kind of turned into a yogi, very artistic, still very funny, but much more mature.
Obviously his persona was quite different to the rest of the cycling world, and I feel like a lot of people thought that he wasn't really paying attention to what was going on. I remember once at the Tour of California being in a rider's room, who was sharing a room with Taylor, he asked me, what time do we leave tomorrow? And Taylor was at the time dancing in his underpants with his headphones, and he knew exactly to the minute what time we left. So even though he was dicking around and doing this and that, he was serious about his bike racing.
The first time we properly became pretty good friends was in some French 2.1 where there was a lot of hills, and we had the leader's jersey on my team, and he was still with BMC, and I'd been riding all day, and he obviously naturally going uphill. Contrary to this jersey, I was getting dropped. And he gave me a big push up the hill, and it was actually kind of cool because I grew up kind of looking up to him because he came from the track background, as did I, and he was kind of the hope that big guys can actually make it. And
he has a massive engine. Was there one moment that impressed you in a race or something that you saw?
Forget the races, the training rides for sure. We would always sprint for the town lines, and it would start with Taylor whacking it 2K to go, and I think definitely a lot of really amazing memories, especially kind of in the fall time when we'd all start riding again.
The year that he came second at the Worlds to Tony Martin in Valkenburg, that was something that I was okay, I knew you were good, but I didn't know you were that good. But I mean, there's been a bunch of moments like that, in Roubaix, or what he did in the World Championships on the track. But I'd say that Valkenburg Worlds really stuck out.
The calm grace and power he always had. There was never a panic with him, even as a young rider. It was power, and it was kind of calm and cool and collected under pressure. And to be given the pressure that was hyped on him from a young age with the pedigree of his parents. He kind of had this comedic side that I think lightened a lot of that load, and he really perfected that over the years. And it was for all the cards that he had been dealt with, the media pressure and trying to live up to these expectations, he actually he surpassed them.
Surprised to see Taylor retire, 29 years old.
Need some sunscreen?
Is John a terrible teammate to have in the team?
No, he's going to be more terrible to not having the team.
Happy to see him go to Lotto Soudal, I see. Thanks for watching the video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you thought of the video and what you'd like to see in future videos. Subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to check out my other videos.